What's going on, everybody? FYB presents Wise Word Wednesdays, a quick live stream to help you get closer to accomplishing your dreams. I'm your host, Joe Spider, and I do represent the fresh. What's going on? I want to say thank you to each and every person who decided to take time out of their Wednesday evening to join us on the show. I appreciate it. If you have not already done so, I'm asking you to please hit that subscribe button on the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel. So whether you're watching on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live, or X Live, please make sure that you subscribe to the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel and hit that like button, drop a comment. I appreciate the people that I'm seeing logging in right now on the IG Live. I appreciate you for sure. We have a great episode for you this evening. I will say I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. You know what I'm saying? And so I just want you to know I might not have the normal energy that I usually have, but that's okay. In fact, my guest is under the weather as well too, but they made a commitment to be on the show, and so they wasn't gonna leave me hanging because they know I was gonna have to kick them in the throat. But anyway, I got a super dope guest. If you were on the Instagram live that we did, I don't know if this was like a month ago or so, or maybe even longer than that, because I'm getting old and all the days and months are blending in together. But we did an episode where we talked about, would you give up your, not an episode, but we did a live recording where we talked about, would you give up social media for a healthy relationship? And there was a lot of interaction. People had different perspectives. We got a lot of comments on that. And so I knew I wanted to get this guest on a long time ago, but we finally made it happen. And I'm sure this is going to be like the first of many. Well, she's not sure that it's going to be the first of many, but I'm going to make her do it again. But ladies and gentlemen, I am asking you to make some noise. Welcome to the stage, Miss Brooke. What's going on, Brooklyn? How you doing?
Yo, we're here. We're here with
We
it.
we are here with it. I appreciate you joining the show. And again, I know you under the weather. So I appreciate you for staying committed because I wouldn't have had nothing to talk about today without you being on here. And we both not feeling well, but we're going to push through. So thank you.
Always love family. Feel
No doubt. No doubt. So,
me?
first and foremost, how has dating been for you in this new generation? You don't have to
Woo.
talk about your relationship status if you don't want to, but how has dating, just in general, over these past few years, how has it been for you in general?
Wow, we starting off with a heavy hitter.
Yes.
I think that it's definitely it's definitely evolved a lot, and I know not just for me, but for everybody. But for my own personal experience, it's definitely evolved a lot, especially since and I don't have no problems talking about my status. I'm single right now, but I was in
She says
a
she's
two.
single and ready to mingle. What's going on? Hey,
Whoa,
hey, I'm
I ain't
just
say all
saying. I'm
that.
not I'm playing. Go ahead. My bad. My bad. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
ain't say all that. But no, so let's see. Back in like 2019, so right around like right before COVID started, I was in a long distance relationship. And if you know me, you know that I don't shy away from talking about things in genuine conversation, right? So it wasn't a healthy relationship. So coming out of that, I think when a lot of people go through like excuse me, when a lot of people go through abusive or narcissistic or manipulative relationships, right? You kind of lose yourself in it.
Mm.
So when you come out of it, you got to find yourself. Um, Coming out of that relationship was like right in the middle of COVID when the world had like just opened again, but like everybody was still not really doing nothing. So it was definitely a different experience than I would say like when I first got to college. And man, SAC 2016 to I want to say like 2014 to 2018 was peak like jumping everywhere. No matter where you went, everybody was friendly, like everybody was social, everybody was with it. Like even if you weren't really social, like you had friends that were social, so you know you were there, whatever it may
Mm.
be. So it's definitely I feel like a lot easier to not only meet people, but I feel like a lot of people were less jaded.
Ooh, jaded. Elaborate. You have to talk a little bit more about that. Tell me what you mean.
Excuse me. You know, like Drake said, but no. On some real talk, I feel like a lot of people are less jaded because I think from personal experience of just not only my own but those loved ones around me, I think a lot of people went through some real like tumultuous times during COVID.
Mm,
Um, and it definitely, I think, changed a lot of people's perspectives and people's outlooks. But I think a lot of people that were in relationships that came like out of COVID, that left COVID without the relationship, right? Like they came out of their relationship. I think they got a very different experience than people who were like just single and then started dating after, or like started dating again or whatnot. Like a lot of people, I'm sure you know, like people were living together, like people were like quarantined together. Like I was one of those people. Like he quarantined with me for the whole half year, right? The whole spring semester, basically.
yeah.
And I think in general, in this like day and age where internet is so easily accessible to a lot of people, um, I think that it's really easy to kind of lose focus of like why people are dating. And I think a lot of people also don't know like the real reason they're dating. Like they're just here to have fun. They're just, you know, they kind of, oh, like it was a one night stand, or like, oh, you know, we was just hanging out and then we fell into the relationship and whatnot.
Mm,
Um, I don't think a lot of people know how to date properly. And so when COVID came and y'all living together, right, you have to know how does this person clean? Do they clean the same way you clean, right? Do you have to do the dishes again when they're done because it's not to your standard or it's not how you were raised? How do they how do they handle their finances? How do they handle the household? You feel me? How do they live day to day? How do they You're with this person 24 hours in the day, right?
right.
It's not just their best foot forward for that 2 hour date you go on. This is like, how does that person wind down when they come home from work? Like, what is their preference? Do they do the dishes immediately? It's all of it. It's like, can you coexist together? And a lot of people that were in relationships that went through that came out of it like, hell no.
Mm,
And now they have this different perspective of when they're dating, what they're looking for.
mm. I hear you for sure. I think COVID showed a lot of people like that you have to be dating for with intent, right? And recognizing that are you willing to be with this person continuously, right? Like I think before COVID, I feel like people had the opportunity to be like, well, I'm just, we'll date, but if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Like I think COVID
And,
kind of like expedited that process, right? Like maybe what a relationship where you may not have found out that you weren't really meant to be together till 4 years later, COVID allowed you to do that in like 6 months. You'd be like, hey, you know what I mean? Because, like you said,
yeah.
you were quarantining with people, and so you see their lifestyle, and a lot of people don't figure that out until way later in a relationship because the time, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you both are working, let's say you work full time, if you work for 8 hours, right, or plus 1 hour lunch, that's 9 hours. You commute to work 30 minutes one way, that's an hour, so 10 hours of your day you're away from your spouse, right? And then let's say you sleep for 8 hours, right? So there's only literally about 6 more hours left that you have to really spend genuine time with your partner. And in those 6 hours, you could potentially, you could be like, I could put up with it for a little bit. You know what I mean? COVID, you spending 24 hours all day, every day. You like, look, I am not dealing with it. Like, I don't care. It's a wrap. It's whatever. So I definitely, understand that perspective for sure. So how have you treated dating now since post COVID? Right. Like, and having that idea or that understanding of like I'm dating with intentionality. Like how have you been dating now and understanding the long-term effects of the way you could see somebody, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I think anybody who knows me knows that like loyalty runs deep with me. That's, you feel me, that's up top of priorities. So for me, it was that relationship. It was like I'm not giving up and I'm not quitting until I know that like I put my all into that and I did everything I could. And at the end of the day, it's like there's two of us here. So as long as I know what I'm capable of and what I put in, we both have to be on that page. And
Right.
there's a point where it's like, if you're not, there's nothing I can do. Right. Like that's kind of where it got for me, to that point where it's like, it's nothing else I could do. So I walked away from that relationship and I was down bad. Like
Mm,
when I tell you, like, I know we weren't as close then, but Elijah will tell you, that's my brother. That's my like blood could not make us closer. You feel me?
Yeah.
I didn't speak to him for probably the better, like probably almost 2 years. The whole time I was in that relationship. And the same goes for a lot of my other guy friends. Same goes for a lot of my girlfriends.
Yeah.
I just like, it was just not a healthy relationship. It was very isolating. And so coming out of it was really hard. So when I first came out of it, like dating was the furthest thing from my mind. Like, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. And again, we are both of us are not feeling well, and we probably should have canceled this episode, but we kept it going just to be consistent. You know, what I mean,
I got my water.
We gonna do it exactly. I'm sipping this water. I'm sipping on. I just finished a tea, so we making it work with what we got. So I just wanted to make sure, yeah, and also subscribe to the Wise Word Wednesday YouTube channel. By the way, not just go ahead. But anyway,
I'm trying so hard not to cough into the mic, but
good.
No, so yeah, dating was the last thing on my mind, if I'm being so real. Like I a lot of things, like, so my personal experience of the dating coming out of that is I gained weight. I was on the wrong birth control combined with the stress from that relationship. I was losing hair. My skin went to absolute, it was done. I gained so much weight. And not only that though, like I obviously, like when all these changes happen to you, like you lose your confidence in yourself. But on top of that, I lost myself in the relationship. So I spent the better half of 2 years looking out for him, serving him. You feel me? Right. Like doing whatever I could for him. How can I help his football career? How can I help him, you feel me, get out of his parents' house? How can I help him, you feel me, get a better job, this, that, and the next, writing his resume for, like all of it, right? I spent the better half of 2 years serving him. I forgot how to serve myself, and I completely lost myself. I lost all my hobbies. I like everything. I didn't go skating. I probably went skating once in 2 years. And like, if you know me, you know, like my heart belongs.
Yeah, when I found out that you, I saw some videos of you skating. I said, "Wait a minute, what?" Like you was going crazy.
Yeah, like I appreciate you, but like that's my heart belongs to winter sports, snowboarding, ice skating. You feel me? Like I'm there. So I probably went once. It was a lot of things that culminated. And so when I came out of it, I had spent I want to say I spent the first like 6 months like down bad. Like when you go through a long-term breakup, like if you've ever been through one where like with your first love, like you thought that was your first love, you know what I'm talking about. Like,
well, let me just, because what does down bad look like for you as a woman? Because I can only speak, by the way, somebody in the comments say you sound like a whole nonprofit organization, basically. Tell me, wow, what does being down bad look like for a woman though, right? Because I can tell you what down, from my perspective of down bad, but I feel like it's different because like I feel like with women, they tend to go into hiding kind of like, or like they just kind of go into isolation. Whereas I feel like as a man, we're like, man, I'm going out. I don't care. I'm for the streets while I'm out. Like it's Gucci. You feel me? So what was am I you feel me? Hey, listen, we outside. But excuse me. But so am I correct in my assessment? Like, were you more like to yourself or what were you for the streets for when you're on your recovery?
Yeah. I want to emphasize this because last time we had a conversation, right? It was a very contradictory topic and a lot of people was coming at me. This is my personal experience and my personal viewpoints based on my personal life experience. You feel me? So at the end of the day, I'm not going to speak for every woman, and I'm not going to speak, you know, across the field.
Gotcha.
Me personally, I think, and this might be hard to understand if you don't personally know me and or did not personally see me. Like if you didn't know me before and during and after the relationship.
Stop giving the disclaimers, Brooke. Okay, just tell us how you feel.
Okay, so I went into hiding. It was bad. So for me, like I thought that was my first love, right? I gave my all. My bank account was in the red for this man. Like, I had met his whole fam, everything, right? I was in the Thanksgiving the family picture, everything. So I really thought, and this was my first real relationship. This was my first long term. This was my first long distance. I really thought this was my first love. Okay.
Yeah.
Bearing that in mind, when I came out this relationship, I broke up with him initially, and it was hard for me to cut contact. So when I initially broke up with him, we were like on and off, like still in contact for, I want to say like 4 or 5 months. Okay. I cut contact on our 2-year anniversary, the weekend of, it was right before Christmas. So,
Ooh.
yeah. So, mind you, I went through the holidays by myself, like Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's, Chinese New Year's, my birthday. Okay. I didn't leave bed. I did not leave my bed. And also at this time, I was unemployed. I lost my job. I had lost my job, and I was in the process of looking for a new one when this happened. Okay. So I was unemployed for 2 months. I didn't leave my bed for those 2 months. When I tell you my best friend, it was like everything happened at once. Like, I just felt like, you know, when you going through it, like you going through it. So we went through this breakup. My best friend just moved out of state, across the country. So I didn't have her. And I had lived with her for 2 years. So she lived through everything. She saw me through everything, right? Yeah. Then I lost my other best friend and my boyfriend at the time, right? At the same time, I had no job. So I was trying to look for a job. At the same time, the roommate that I was living with, not the greatest. So everything kind of culminated, right? So I didn't leave my bed for 2 months. My best friend had moved to Maryland. She had to FaceTime call me every single morning to get me up out of bed, to go to the bathroom and get something in my stomach. And then I would get right back in bed. Like, she had to actually FaceTime call me to get me out. Like, there was no other way I was getting out of bed. And then after that, it was 2 months, you feel me? I finally, I was kind of like, it's the real world. I got bills to pay. You feel me?
Yeah,
I gotta do. Yeah. So, you know, I ended up finding a little part-time job just to get me by. I started going to an esthetician, like a professional, like a medical grade esthetician, to get my skin right. I got a personal trainer to help me get back in the gym, because I've been some type of athlete my whole life. And so being stagnant for 2 years, I lost all confidence in the gym. Like, I had no idea what was doing anymore. I don't know what happened. I was like, form? What form? So I got a personal trainer. I got a personal trainer to help me get back on track. You feel me? So yeah, that was down bad for me. I probably ate one meal every other day. I didn't leave the apartment for those 2 months. So initially, when I first cut contact, the only person I wanted was my mom. And I'm blessed to where she lives only 30 minutes away. So I quite literally, Christmas until Chinese New Year's, which is February. From Christmas until China. Yeah. So for a solid month and a half, I was at my mom's. I wasn't even at my apartment.
This is a thing. I don't know what it is. When women go through that tough time, they be like, well, I will say, unless they have friends that are there to yank them outside, they're usually I'm tucked into hiding. I feel like with dudes, man, we immediately, oh, you going at? All right, peace. I'm outside with it. You know what I'm saying? But I do want to acknowledge a comment. Farouk is in the comment. He said the bounce back was real. He was saying
that's my brother. Yeah. I love you, Rookie.
Yeah, and then my boy Uno said, "Dang, it was worse than the Titanic, and the band wasn't even playing as the ship went down." Oh man!
Wow, that's crazy.
But I think it's important to acknowledge that you were at a tough time, but ultimately you overcame it, and you had your friend who was, even though they were out of state, and you said they were in Maryland, so that's East Coast time, they were still willing to FaceTime you to make sure that you had what you needed. And I think that's the importance of having a good circle, right? When you have a strong circle, a solid group of people, they can kind of hold you to at least like kind of tread water, right? You might not be swimming, but at least you're above water where like you can breathe a little bit from time to time.
Yeah, I will say Ruki is one of my loved ones that knew me beforehand, right? I met Ruki back in 2016 when I was a freshman at SAC.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's one of the few people that knew me before the relationship, lost complete contact.
We're gonna have to get you on the show. Don't forget about that. I'm just telling you right now. We need you on the Wise World.
Yeah, yeah.
So A-Bass. I'm just throwing that out there, brother.
Yeah. He's one of the few friends that I had that like I had lost contact with when I was in that relationship, but when I came out, was there for me, like no questions asked. Which I think is another aspect of this dating in this time is that I had a lot, and I say this very carefully. I had a lot of relationships that I neglected when I was in that relationship because of the mindset I was in when I was in the relationship, right? And I said when I first got out the relationship, I used to say this all the time, like, I'm not blind, I'm just stupid. Like, I wasn't blind. I seen the red flags. I knew, like, okay, that's a red flag.
You know what? You know what's crazy? I'm glad you said that, right? Because I be talking with people, right? I be talking with people and they be telling me about the people that they dating. And I look at them but you know, sometimes they'll come to me because they know I'm gonna tell to her. I'll just be like, oh, you just ignore the red flags. Or when people tell me about their exes and they be like, this person was trash. And I'd be like, well, why did you ignore the red flags? They'd be like, what red flags? And I'd be like, you're telling me that this person who is so terrible to you, they didn't show no signs at all. This person just flipped automatically, and all of a sudden they were just terrible people. No, you ignored the signs, and that's okay to admit that you ignored the signs. And I'm glad that you're willing to take accountability for it, because most people that are trash, they're trash because they're trash. Like, it's very rare that a person just automatically snapped and flipped. Not saying that it's not possible, but the chances of them happening are very rare. Usually we overlook the red flags, we overlook the tendencies, the bad character, because we have this perception or idea in our head as to what we want it to be as opposed to what it is.
Let me finish this thought and then I'm gonna talk about that. Okay. But the thought was, when I came out of the relationship, right, and I was re-entering the world and I was reestablishing these connections, which I will say, like, I knew that I neglected a lot of relationships. When I came back into the world again, when I reemerged from my hole that I was hiding under, the first thing I did was I reached out and I apologized. And I said, listen, I know, and you know, like, I know our relationship is deeper than this, and I should never have treated you like that. And I'd apologized, right? And I laid it out and I said, if you're willing, like, I will answer any questions you have. I'll explain to you why it happened, how it happened. And Ruki was one of those people that was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, as long as you're good, whatever you need, you let me know. You feel me? And it really helps to have people that are like that, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't understand unless you've been it. Segue into what you just said, right? Yes, people don't just usually flip a switch. Like, there's usually signs. However, people being trash and people actually really being manipulative and unhealthy in a relationship, like abusive, unhealthy in a relationship, it's two different types of relationships, right? It's two different sets of signs that you need to see. And I think a lot of times people get those confused, because and trust me, I had plenty of these conversations, right? If you knew me before I was in that relationship, right? If you knew me prior, I was take no shit. You're not going to talk to me no type of way. You're not going to talk to my girls no type of way. You're not talking to anybody I'm with any type of way. Mm-hmm. Period, point blank, toe to toe. We could go at it, right? Like, if you knew me, that's the energy that I had. Very much so, like, advocating for not only myself, but people around me. I used to say this all the time. I'll never be first sign, I'm out. I'll never be with somebody who, da 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 da. From my own childhood and that I observed and that was put in front of me in my childhood, right? I was like, I'll never be with somebody who talks down on me and calls me out my name. I'll never be with somebody who has anger problems. I'll never be with somebody who is abusive, whether it's verbally, emotionally, or physically.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so keeping that in mind, going through my relationship, bro, you have that checklist right there. Check, check, check. Like when I tell you, like my friends were like, bro, what? Like, we don't even know who you are. What do you mean you let this and that slide?
Mm-hmm.
It's because when you're in it, manipulators have a way of manipulating. So
That's
it's
why
not
they're
it's not
manipulators. I think so. I think that's true. That's true.
you know what I mean? So it's not always easy to be like obviously if I'm talking like when I'm talking about it now, it's easy to say like, what? Like how you let that
Yeah.
slide for so long? Or what? Like you didn't see that? And it's like, and that's why I say like I wasn't blind, I was just stupid. Because I seen it, but I wasn't registering it as something that is an immediate red flag now.
Yeah, I think
I
you allowed
registered
your emotions to get like the best of you in essence, where like I said, like you were and again your loyalty, right? You were invested in the relationship. You were invested in what it was supposed to become, that you kind of allowed that to take, to take priority over, as opposed to stepping outside and looking at it and saying, okay, if my friend was in this situation, I would tell her to leave. But because I'm in this situation with this person and I'm emotionally invested in this person and I have like all faith that this is going to work out for the betterment in the end, I'm going to keep trying to get to that rainbow.
Man, just like when I tell you, like coming out of that relationship, when I'd have these conversations with my friends, and it was like, well, how did you, or why did you? When I tell you, like, the number one sentence that I was saying to myself and to them was, I thought it was temporary. Like, I thought it was gonna get better. I didn't think this was forever. When he deleted my Snapchat, I didn't think that was forever. It's just we going through some trust issues, and you feel me? Give it some time and build the trust. And bro, when he told me cut contact with X, Y, and Z, when he deleted, you know what I'm saying? When he deleted all my guy friends contacts out my phone, unfollowed them on Instagram, unfollowed them on Twitter. It's just a phase. We're going through some trust issues. We're working on it, right? It's not forever. It's just for now. Like that's literally what it was. Like that was my mindset, was we're working on it. We're working towards this. We're working on it. And I was okay. And like pretense to our previous conversation about would I give up social media for a partner, right? Like that was my mindset, was I'm okay with this because this is towards something that we're working. So that's
I think it's
different.
It's different because that conversation about working towards a healthy relationship. This sounded like it was a healthy relationship is what it was. But all right, so let's because I don't want to spend too much time on that one relationship. I kind of want to go more into just dating as a whole. I think exactly post healthy relationship. What has been your experience like on the street? Because listen, I talk to my friends, right? I have people that are in my circle who are married or engaged and things like that, and sometimes from looking at things from a lens of like social media or a lens of like an immediate moment, it's easy to look at the stuff that single people are doing and be like, man, I wish I could. But I be 100% honest with all my friends that are in relationships. I tell them, ain't nothing out here in these streets. It's terrible. Well, I don't like to say that like the dating pool is terrible, because let's say if I'm single, right, and I say the dating pool is trash, I'm talking about myself because I'm a part of that pool. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't be like, oh, people are like, oh, it's like sewer water. I'm like, you're in it, right? Like you are a part of the sewer. Like you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you a fish talking about the seawater. Like you in it. You the reason. So what has your experience been? No, seriously, like that's how I feel. It's like you're the reason, like that it smell like that. You feel me? So you know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, what's been your like observation of the dating scene since then?
Okay, I will say this. So we talked about, people coming out of COVID, with a different sense of like dating and with a different view on things. I think we really talked about, dating intentionally. The flip side of that is, I think the other half of people came out of it and were like, I don't want to date intentionally. I don't want a relationship right now. I just want whoop de whoop. And so I think that's perfectly valid. Like, I'm all for, pro-choice. It's your body, do what you want. It's your mind, do what you want. As long as it don't affect, you know what I'm saying, the people around you. Like, if you're doing you and you're doing you, great, love that, as long as you're happy. But when it starts to negatively affect those around you, then I think it's time for some check-ins, some self-awareness work. So in terms of dating after, I very much came out of that like, I did not want another relationship. When I tell you, like, I went out with the girls and with my brothers. I didn't go out with nobody that I was acquaintances with. I didn't go out with nobody that expressed any type of anything towards me, because I was not in a state to accept anything other than friendship. So I was out. It was girls' night every weekend, right? And I did go out a lot. I think my experience is a little different though, because I'm naturally a social person and I recharge by being around people. So
it sounds like Brooke is the reason the clubs was dry, because she was bringing them all to girls' night. So she's the reason there was nobody in the clubs. She had them all in her house having a girls' night.
That's crazy. But no, but yeah, so I was going out every weekend to get my social fix, to be around new people, to meet new people, but also to like just not be in my own head. So yeah, I was not looking for a relationship. If you ask one of my best friends, and this is so funny to me to this day, because she used to be like bamboozled. Like, when I tell you, just like, I used to be so mean to people. Let me not say people. I used to be so mean to boys in the club who would try and talk to me. Like, I genuinely was like, get away from me.
Terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the reason that men are single. Voila. The name is Brooke.
And I used to be so confused. No, here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. Like, prior, if I looked at you, like, and you seen my meme mug,
I'm sure they've seen it on the show already a couple of times. I'm just saying, I think the world has seen it at this point.
No, like, it's just, one, I naturally have a resting bitch face, okay? But if I see you acting weirdo in the club towards me or one of my girls,
well, okay, hold on.
Let
me. You gonna have to explain. Wait, let me go through some of these comments.
God.
You have to explain what weird acting weirdo is, because I need to know. Because it's sometimes I've seen women say some stuff is weird, and I'd be like, that's not weird. But then other times I'd be like, dudes really do that. So you have to explain it. So
that's their prerogative, though.
Somebody said it's too much red tape in the dating pool. That's tough. Somebody said,
wait, too much red tape. I need you to expand on that.
Expand on that. Okay, so expand on the too much red tape. And then somebody said, yeah, stay in your living room. somebody said curve till death. Okay. And then somebody said resting bitch face equals forever single life. Pick the struggle. All time. Okay.
Look,
so we're gonna need somebody to elaborate. You have to elaborate on the too much red tape in a dating pool. But I think I want to say that they made that comment when you had talked about after COVID, like it was a lot of people that was not trying to date intentionally. I believe that, but I'll let them clarify in the comments. But
I was gonna say, when I hear that, I think of like people who have boundaries. Like, people have a lot more different boundaries now, and it's like, like, I need you to do this or I need you to do that. That's why I want them to elaborate, because I don't want to assume.
No doubt.
Resting bitch face equals single for life. Listen, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I know that. I'm not for everybody. I'm for a very select crowd.
I will say this. I will say, look, I like my girl having resting bitch face towards everybody else. I just don't want her to have it towards me. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the thing. So if you're not that man, you're not that man. But
right.
I digress.
And I will say that too. Like one thing I think is interesting is that, and this is I gotta take accountability, right, for the male species and some of the certain things that we do. Like, I think a lot of us are kind of brainwashed to think that we're gonna make a girl like us, right? Like, so if you we'll go up to a girl who has the resting bitch face, and we're like, I'm gonna holler, right? And then she doesn't give us any
Reciprocate.
play, and then we're like, oh man, right, like she's not with it, or she's not cool. But in reality, one thing I know, and I'm sure if anybody that's had a lot of experience in just going out there and trying to holler at people, a girl will show you when she's interested, even if she's like, she might have resting bitch face towards everybody else. But most times, if she's feeling you, she's gonna let you know. Like, I've been, and there's nothing wrong with, I'll go up to a girl that got a resting bitch face, and I'll try to talk to her. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, I'll be like, well, I went up with the expectation that she already said no, because you got to. But I also know, if I don't shoot, I can't make the shot. You know what I'm saying? And there's times where it's worked in my favor, and there's times where it hasn't. But I also think that's our guys, like, we have to be able to read kind of signs and signals. You know what I mean?
I think, okay, so this is kind of why I like, this is why I side eye like dating gurus, or like relationship gurus, or like, people who are like, I'm gonna help you get any type of woman, because at the end
No
of the
such thing.
day, everybody's different, right? So everybody has their own preferences. But on top of that, there's not one single person who grew up in the exact same environment, with the exact same biology, with the exact same, you feel me, view on the world. Even if you grew up in similar environments, you have different experiences.
That's a fact.
So at the end of the day, like, when and that's like, oh, common sense is common sense. Like, oh, okay, but it's not, because if somebody grew up completely different, or with a completely, like, you only know what you know. So it might be common sense for you. You don't know how they grew up.
Right. Right.
Their mama might have taught them different. I'm Asian. I grew up. We save plastic bags, and we don't buy trash bags. We use those plastic bags from the grocery stores as our trash bags. Okay, not everybody does
I
that,
do believe the African American delegation also does that. I just might throw that out there as well.
but you know what I mean. So not everybody. So yeah. So anyways, all that to say that I'll never speak for anybody else except for myself. At the end of the day, what's weird to me
Yeah.
might not be weird to anybody else.
We'll talk about what's weird to Brooke, because I want to know what are some of these weird scenarios, and then I'll tell you, as a dude, if you tripping or if it's really weird. Give me a weird scenario.
Okay,
Wait,
so
before you do that, let me read some of the comments. So somebody said, it's only weirdo stuff if the guy isn't cute, and if he's cute, it's corny. And then somebody said, they said, yet all the time confidence will win. I've seen the resting bitch. Yet the most confident person shot his shot and won. That's a fact. Sack that he said wasn't the most swaggy or the most drippy. I agree. I think confidence is key, definitely, when you're talking to a dude. I think I was kind of more speaking of, if a girl isn't giving you signs in the conversation, kind of know when it's best to be like, all right, have a good night, and kind of walk away in that sense. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to thinking like you're going to talk to her more and be able to kind of win her over. Like, I'll be like, I don't have time to be sitting here trying to win nobody over. You got about 10 minutes at the most with me. If I'm not feeling it, maybe even 35 seconds. But but anyway, go ahead, Brick. Tell me the weird story, and I'll tell you if you're tripping.
No, so I will say this. There is some truth to that. Like I said, not everybody's for everybody. So obviously, if you're not their type, like, they're not going to entertain it. Another thing, I think, especially in like clubs and bars, right? I think especially in this day and age, a lot of people are looking for like immediate, like instant gratification. They're looking for that tonight for sure. We don't know about tomorrow type. And me personally, right, I'm dating for intention now. So I already know what type of time you're on. I'm not here for that. So I'm saving both of our time. Go ahead and find you somebody who's with it, because I'm not her. So yeah, I think it definitely depends. I think it definitely depends on the person. Because, the cues that I'm giving that I'm not interested may be different from somebody else. On top of that, I don't know if I can cuss, but People
Oh,
be
you can cut.
crazy.
You can cut. We said rest in bitch face. You can
I
cut.
was gonna say, motherfuckers be crazy. Just like
That's
you
true.
never know, especially as a woman. I don't ever go out by myself or with only my girls unless I know somebody there. Like I know men there, right?
Yeah.
So, and this probably sounds weird to a lot of people, but I did work as a promoter at a club in Sacramento for a very short time. So I know a lot of the you feel me, the security at certain clubs out here. I have a lot of friends that do music, DJ, sing, perform, whatever. So I know a lot of them. If you ever see me out with just my girls, promise you, I have security somewhere
Gotcha.
in our vicinity. Other than that, the homies is coming with us. And that's strictly
Bruh,
because it's
Tell
hard
me
as a
the
woman.
weird story. Tell me.
It's
I
too
need to
much.
know. Or tell
It's
no,
too
give
much.
me one weird. Don't obviously don't tell me all because I
Okay.
will say I've heard some straight up stuff where I said, yo, dude is wild. And there's been times where I've been at a club or a venue and I've had to stop a dude from wilding or doing too much. I've had to like pretend like a girl is my girl because they're kind of doing too much. So I will say I've seen it. I just want to know. I just want to know if one example you're gonna give me is actually gonna be weird or you're gonna be tripping. That's all.
So listen to this. This is one of the more recent situations that happened, right?
Okay.
So it was me and my girls out for girls' night. Now, I had a drink or two. I had a sip or two, but I wasn't toasted. But my girls was having a good time. And so prefacing that, motherfuckers is weird. You never know. I think a lot of women are conditioned to be like, okay, just be nice. If he asks for your number, just give it to him because it's easier to block him later than to give your life now. So we're out, we're at the club, whatever. And it was this guy, well, it was two guys that were standing a ways away, staring hard, talking, whispering. Like you could tell that they're talking about one of the girls that I was with. Okay. So whatever, they work up their confidence. They come over, they talk to her. One of them dances with her. Fast forward, and the other one's dancing with her. Mind you, it's the look. She gave me the look. She's trying to get away, bro. When I tell you me and my girls moved around this club like 6-7 different times. And everywhere we ended up, boom, I see them out the corner of my eye. Number one, weird. Why are you doing all that? You already had the chance to talk to her. You was already dancing with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you was already in her face. She moved on. Okay. Josiah, when I tell you I almost fought this grown-ass man in the club, I was toe to toe. Noses was almost touching. I was in his face.
Did he hit you with a?
He did. He would have lost his life. Oh God, he would have. No, but like when I tell you like toe to toe, screaming at me. Why, as a grown man, are you that emotional about a girl rejecting you? Charge it to the game and keep it pushing. Do you see how many other people are here just because she don't want you? And mind you, it wasn't even for me. So he's sitting here talking about what did he call me? Cock block. He was like, you're cock blocking your friend. You're blocking her from her blessings. She don't want him, homie.
Yeah, that's tough.
She done. Every time I pull her away, oh my God, thank you, Brooklyn. Like, fuck, like, da-da-da-da. Like, I had to physically put my body in between y'all because you're not getting the message. And it wasn't just me.
Right.
You feel me? I'm with 4 or 5 other girls. We're like taking turns doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, well, we were going down the stairs and they were at the like entrance of the stairs. And he gonna grab my arm. First of all, that's my personal pet peeve. Don't touch me. You don't know me.
Ooh.
Don't touch me in the club. Don't touch me trying to get my attention. None of that. Because I'll lay you out. Ooh. Like I turn ready to lay somebody out. Because why are you grabbing my arm? Why are you touching my lower back? You don't need to. You need to get by. You can say, excuse me, put your hands up. Excuse me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my homies could do it. Why can't you?
Right.
Anyways. So yeah. So he grabbed my arm. Ooh, it was right in front. If you know where I'm talking about, then you know. it's a security guard right there, but like at the top of the stairs. There's
Mhm.
one like halfway down the stairs too. So he grabbed my arm. I immediately like, who's touching me? Bro, he's in my ear like spitting. He's yelling, he's spitting damn near. Talking about you're a cock block, you're blocking her blessings. Bro, I looked at her, I was like, she doesn't want you. Mind you, music is playing, so I'm screaming at this point. The security guard is right next to me. I know he hears me, right? She doesn't want you. You don't know that you're talking for her. Like, at that point, it's nothing else I could do because you're not getting it. There's nothing I'm gonna say that's gonna make you get it. So
yeah, I will say this. Okay, I think people like that, they definitely exist, and I've seen stuff like that happen quite a few times. And I just think it's terrible because those kind of people really ruin it in a lot of different ways. They make women not want to go outside, right? And I think if that scenario happens at a very specific time, that can stop a woman from going outside for months, right? Like let's say like this is your first time outside since your healthy relationship, right? Like let's say it's your first time going out, right? And then you go out and that happens to you, you're like, see, this is why I don't want to go outside. And I will say sometimes that can lead people back into their unhealthy their healthy relationship. Like if you because you're like, you know what I already have is better than this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I might as well go through it.
Might as well go through the hell with somebody that I know than the hell with somebody I don't. You feel me?
Somebody new.
You feel me? So I understand that. So that I will say that is, and I know I've seen for a fact that has happened many times out in bars where dudes just don't take no, and they don't understand that the friend is trying to help their friend because their friend may not feel comfortable enough just saying no to your face, or just literally they're just kind of shy. You know, they kind of move around. So I definitely think that was a great example, and you passed, because if you'd have gave me a terrible example, I would have honey roasted the hell out of you.
Talking about he tried to buy me a drink at the bar.
And right, I'd have been like, you ungrateful. Oh, wow. I'd have been on your helmet. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm glad that you gave me a valid. So let me ask you this now, since we're here. Again, well, not here because we've been here all night talking about gender roles. What are not gender roles, but relationships? What do you think about gender roles when it comes to relationships? Like, do you think they exist? Should they exist? I get it that you're only speaking for yourself, so I get that you don't have to fucking give me a whole synopsis. You know what I'm saying, of the pre-message. I'm just tell me whether or not you believe in gender roles, and if so, what are they what do they look like in your relationship, and if not, tell me why.
In my opinion, yes. And I say this because I think that it takes a man and a woman to make a baby, right? Men and women bring different things. Biologically speaking, men and women are built different. Emotionally, right? And you kind of talked about this earlier about how it's easier for men to kind of look at that and be relationship and be like, what the heck? And women are more emotional with it. It's biological, right? Biologically, men are built to compartmentalize things easier than women because women are more inclined to emotion. So yeah, I do believe in my personal relationships, having romantic relationships, having gender roles, because I think that men and women bring something different. And when you're raising a child, right, like to have a well-rounded like family and to have a well-rounded household helps build a child up more so. And that's not to say, like, that's not to talk down on single parent households, because, you know what I'm saying, like, they're doing the damn thing, right? Like, it's hard.
They're trying.
They're trying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I personally, and I say this with absolute, it's not gonna go any other way. I refuse to be a single parent. Like, I refuse because I know how hard it is. And I would never want to bring a child into an unstable what's the word?
Environment.
Environment. Thank you. an unstable environment like that, knowing that I cannot provide for this child what a man could, right? The confidence that boys get from their dads, the security, and that level of the level of like where the bar is, right? And also on top of that, it's seeing how a man and a wife, or sorry, a man and a woman, a husband and a wife interact with each other in the household that children observe as well. So like, you don't ever see me having positive interactions with men. How do you think that's going to affect the child growing up? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think that's super critical, right? I'll tell you, I was at the bars the other day watching the games. Shout out to Bar West. I was there watching the football games this past week. And there was a woman there with her children. She had two kids in the bar, and mind you, I was there for a long time. Those kids were there for at least 4 hours. Mind you, we had to get ID to get into the bar. Maybe I shouldn't have said the name of the bar. Dang, but anyway, it was not that bar that I said at first. It was a different bar. So, um, but yeah, these kids were there, and the whole time that I was there, every time I looked over and I saw those kids in the booth, I was like, yo, like, what do you think that these kids' perception of women is going to be when they see their mother at the bar drunk getting hollered at by dudes? Like, what do you think that they're going to process when they get older about how women should be treated? Because these are 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids, you know what I'm saying, at the bar with their mom on they're in a booth. Their mom is at the bar getting hollered at. You know what I'm saying? All types of dude in her face, entertaining type of dude. So I think that it is important to have that balance, because my thing is, as if I was a parent, and even if like maybe if I was part, or 50% custody, and it was supposed to be the mom's time to take him, but I got him. I'm telling my friends, even though we said we were going to go to the bars, I'm telling them, hey, I'm watching the games at home with my kids. I'm not going to expose my kids to that type of environment at that type of age, because then what's their perception of what life is supposed to be like as an adult? You know what I mean? So I think that's important.
Like, come to the crib instead.
Come to the crib.
It's
you feel
not
me?
that big of a deal.
Really. Exactly. Now, and it's always interesting whenever I ask people if they believe in gender roles. For those that do say no, I always ask them, okay, so would you propose to your man? If it's a woman, I'll say, would you propose to your man? And if it's a man, I'll say, okay, so would you be cool with your woman proposing to you? And most times, actually, I have not had someone say yes to that question, right? So it's like, so you do believe in gender roles. You just don't believe in all of the gender roles. You know what I'm saying? There are people out there that obviously will allow a woman to propose to a man. That's cool. But I'm saying typically oftentimes when people think of gender roles, they're always thinking of the ones that they don't like when they say, oh, no, I don't believe in gender roles. But if you've ever gone on a date and if you're a woman and you've gone on a date and you haven't paid, that's gender roles, right? Like if you wouldn't propose as a woman to your man, that's a gender role. You know what I'm saying? Like there's an expectation there. Now, are you cool with all gender roles? No, but you still believe in them. And I think feeling like you don't, just because you don't believe in the ones that don't benefit you, that still doesn't mean that you don't believe in gender roles.
I think that
somebody said they'll be single, but they'll be single forever before they propose to a man. That's tough. I feel you. I understand.
I feel you, sis. Look, okay, that's a whole nother conversation. But I think what works for you works for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the conversation of gender roles is so broad because there's so many different things. There's so many different aspects to it. And a lot of people that are like, the conversation spills into like the LGBTQ plus community, right? And I think that's where
I stay away from that because that's not my, you know what I'm saying? I was just talking more heteronormative, heterosexual relationship. I wasn't talking necessarily, and I only say that because again, I'm not a part of the LGBTQ community, and I don't think it's right to speak on something that I am not a part of. Just like I wouldn't expect, you know what I'm saying, like a white person to be talking about all the stuff that happens within the Black community. I just, you know what I mean? Like I have these, so that's why I think had to get that disclaimer.
Yeah, I mean, I slightly disagree with you. I do think, allyship is very real. I'm not part of that community. However, I acknowledge that, that a part of the general conversation does come from that community. And so I can respect that, people who say like that side of the argument, I can respect that. But in terms of myself, like when I'm looking for a partner, I know what I bring to the table as a partner, as a woman.
Mm, mm,
And I know what I am willing to, you know what I'm saying? Like what I'm willing to give up or what I'm willing to compromise on. And I'm not looking for somebody who, like, I'm not looking for somebody to compete with me. I can cook, I can clean, like, I know I can do all these things. I know I can take care of my man. I'm not looking for somebody to compete with me, right? I'm looking for somebody to complete me. So what that looks like for me comes in the form of gender roles, right? Like if it's like obviously like, you know, I make my own money, I drive my own car, like I own my car, you know what I'm saying? I pay my own bills. It's not to say if a man came along and was like, I want you to live, you know, I want you to live easy, like I'll help you with these things. I'm gonna be like, no, I'm an independent woman, I don't need help. Like if that's my man, that's my man. The same way that I'm helping provide for you in other ways. So I think what works for people works for people. And at the end of the day, if you're dating somebody who has a different view on it, that person's not for you.
right.
Go find
Exactly.
somebody who aligns with you and what you want. And that's that. Like you don't have to talk down on people who have different opinions. You don't have to push your agenda on other people because you think that is the way that you want to live is the right way. Like you
Hmm.
don't have to do all that. Just find somebody who wants to live the way that you want to live.
Exactly. Definitely agree wholeheartedly. Somebody said as long as there is equal, somebody else in the comments said I don't want to be equal, I need a man. They said effort and gender roles should be accepted, and men need women. So here's the thing, I believe in equality, but just because I believe in equality, it doesn't mean that I believe in duplication. I don't believe in a repetitive role. So, for example, right, if like I'm a man in the relationship, right, and because I'm heterosexual, right, I desire to have a woman in the relationship. Now, that doesn't mean that I expect the woman to do the things that I do. It does, but that also doesn't mean that she's not important, equally as important in her role in the things that I expect her to do as well, too. Does that kind of make sense? So what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying is that I believe in equal in value, but not equal in product.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like if
Yeah.
I'm out, you know what I'm saying? If I can change a tire, I don't expect my girl to change a tire. That's equal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if I can change a tire, then maybe I might expect my girl to be able to cook well. Like I might not be the best cook, but I expect her to do. She might not be the best person to change a tire, but she expects me to. That's still
Mm-hmm.
equal in value because there's things that I lack that she might do well and things that she lacks that I might do well. Equal in value, but not equal in role in regards to production. What we do isn't the same, right? Like it's like we have two arms and two legs. If I had four legs and no arms, that's equality, right? That's they're both are equal. I got
Mm-hmm.
two legs on the bottom and two legs on the top. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't need four legs. I just need two legs and two arms. You be the arms, I'll be the legs, or I'll be the arms and you be the legs. Like, but that's equal in value, not necessarily equal in regards to identical. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I feel that. I think to add on to that, like
Somebody said doing laundry versus paying bills equal question mark. That's tough.
I
Definitely not equal. Not if we got a washing machine. I'm gonna need something different. If we got a washing machine, that's not equal. You gonna have to wash a whole bunch of more clothes if I'm paying all the bills. It's gonna be.
I
I need you to
think
take care of a lot more than that. Come on now, Brooke. You gotta don't you go there with me.
okay,
Do not
listen.
tell me that doing laundry in a laundry machine is the
Listen.
same as paying bills for the month.
Okay, so here we are talking about we're breaking it down, right?
Mhm, mhm.
By um like I want to say chore, but paying I guess paying bills is a chore. But we're breaking it down by act, right? Here's the thing. Like a relationship is all encompassing. You can't just say like you
Right.
can't just compare that, right? So like
No, yeah, yeah. I
let's
get
say like let's say like my man is paying for the bills and he's taking care of, you know, my car maintenance, this, that, and the next. It's like I'm not just here like it's not just what materialistic things he's providing and what materialistic things that I'm providing, right?
I agree.
It's an emotional, like, okay, so he takes care of me on all fronts of financial and physical, like around the house, you know, building stuff, fixing stuff, what it may be. It's like, oh, she just cooks and cleans, and you feel me? That's not it though. Like that when you look at it like that, that's not equal. You're not factoring in
peace.
I'm the safe place for my man to come home and be able to talk to me about what he needs, to be able to talk to me about whatever it may be, right? Like to feel safe with me, to feel vulnerable, to like, men don't get that. Like the way that women
heavy,
do.
right? Hold on, Brooke. I'm just telling you. You know, it's dudes that's gonna watch this. They're gonna be in your DMs after this. Now I'm just telling you, the way you talking, you gotta be careful now. You
okay,
gotta
look,
be
because
careful.
I'm not the only woman that feels this way, right? Okay, so you're hella funny for that.
I'm just trying to warn you. Somebody gonna slide in the DMs.
No, but that's point blank. Like, men don't get that security, and they don't get vulnerability, and they don't get physical touch as openly and regularly as women do. I'll sit up here and me and my girl will be up under one blanket, cuddled up, legs intertwined, watching a movie. You feel me? Like, ain't nothing, like, we're cuddled. Like, it's platonic cuddling. Men don't do that with each other.
Time out. We don't care about cuddling, bro.
Okay, that's not, but that's still physical touch. Men, like, y'all dap each other up. Like, rarely do y'all hug the way that women hug.
I agree. But I'm just telling you, if there was a priority list of things,
that's not even what I'm talking about. That's not even what I'm talking about.
My bad. I was just okay.
Affection,
I just wanted to make sure.
affection, intimacy, right? Like platonic intimacy, right? Men don't get that as openly. They might get it from their female friends, but like a lot of women, let me rephrase. Men might get that from the women in their lives. However, there are plenty of men that I know that cannot hold a platonic relationship with women. So then where are they getting this from? Only the women that they're romantically involved with. Right? So it's the same. Look, this cold done meshed my brain up.
Let me say this real quick. I think that peace is probably the most important thing that a man could have, right? Whether men as an individual even understand it or know it, I'm just telling you that if a man has peace, if a man has a person in his home or in his space who is going to allow him to be himself, allow him to come home and be vulnerable, right? And not necessarily be judged to a certain extent. I think that is one of the most valuable things that most men do not have. Even most men in relationships do not have that, right? The pandemic showed us, right? We saw the divorce rate skyrocket when the pandemic. It was like, I couldn't believe that this person is like this, right? Like peace, literally, a man will go outside and take on the world. And I don't mean in like a hard working, no, I mean he will go to war if he knows that when he comes home, there's peace. If he knows that when he comes home, that he can be himself, that he will be loved and nurtured the way that he feels that a man needs, that softness, that femininity, that energy, right? A man will go above and beyond, just like a woman will go above and beyond for her man if she feels safe, if she feels protected, if she feels like nobody will dare lay hands on her because she knows that that man that she is with is going to take care of that, right? Not only just from a physical standpoint, but also if she feels that she can come to him with her problems and he's a solver of those problems, right? A woman will go to war in a sense of take care of whatever he needs in the home, she'll go above and beyond. Like she'll be like, dang, let me when you came home, let me rub your back real quick. Like, when's the last time you had your back rubbed or something like that? Like, I'm just saying, when people have what they need, they're willing to go above and beyond. But I just think a lot of dudes try to focus on the cooking and the cleaning, which I think are obviously very important and very valuable. But I think peace, it should be the number one on that priority list. All those other things, like, you can learn how to cook, you can learn how to clean on your own. Like, if you clean up after yourself, it ain't much to clean up. You know what I'm saying? Like let's be real. There's washing machines. You could throw your laundry in the washing machine and be cool. Like, but I'm saying, as far as the things that we need, yo, like, how are you together? Can you sit down and have a conversation? Can you watch the movies and laugh and enjoy each other's presence? Can you go out on a couple of dates and not be mad at each other at the dinner table where other people was like, they clearly ain't talking? You have no idea how many times I've been out eating and I'm looking at a couple and I'm like, yo, they hate each other. I can tell, right? Like, peace goes a long way. Let me read some of these comments real quick. It says, it's 2024 and they still don't get it. Let's see. It's a trap god. I don't know. This was a while back, so I don't know. Okay. You holding pieces as safety. He said girls, most men can't. Oh, interesting. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm way late. It says most men and women can't be friends. That's unrealistic. Yup. I ain't trying to be a girl's friend. Preach to peace. Somebody said all men don't deserve that, but they have the same expectation. I'm assuming she's probably talking about like the peace and all that stuff. For sure, towards the peace. But if I ain't got the bills this month, is it still peace? Oh, that's tough. There won't be. He stressed her out. Nah, we need peace first, just like you. What about the woman's peace? Living in America is enough stress as it is. Then take dealing with corporate America. If men don't point blank period provide, then we're considered pointless to women. I did not realize that I unlocked a lot of stuff. Here's what I'll say. Again, I think peace is important for both parties. I think we were specifically talking about
it just looks different. Peace looks different for men and women.
Exactly.
Let's start and end there. Peace looks different for men and women. Peace looks different for you and me. Peace looks different for all the people that are commenting. So, I mean,
somebody said I'm missing everything.
He said, if I don't pay the bills this month, is it still peace?
Is it still peace? That's a good question. It's a good question.
Some of the comments that you're reading, what I'm getting from this is that there's a lot of self-awareness to be done, because at the end of the day, like, if that's your bottom line, again, that's materialistic. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't got the bills this month. Like, you're culminating your whole relationship into this 1 month of you paying bills, and are you still getting peace from your woman? And it's like, at the end of the day, like, in my opinion, I think relationships are 50-50, but that line is fluid.
I will say this. My boy who's married tells me relationships are not 50-50. It's 100-100.
That's what I was going to say. So, okay. So when I say 50-50, I mean, like, you're both putting in effort, right? But I actually, that's so funny, because I had this conversation a couple months back with somebody who was literally arguing with me in my messages about this, because I said, I don't believe in 50-50 in the terms that he was saying it of 50-50 was like, I do this, so you do this. I was like, I don't believe in 50-50.
That's not 50-50.
Exactly. I said, I don't, and that's what he was saying. That's 50-50. I said, so in his definition, I said, I don't believe in 50-50. I believe in 100%. Every single day, I'm giving 100 and you're giving 100. Now, there's going to be days where, like, I can't give you 100 because something else in my life needs some type of something, right?
Right, exactly.
And at that point, it's like, even if I can't give you 100, you're still giving me 100. So we're still meeting that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're meeting me where I need to be met. And when I'm back to it, I'm meeting you where you need to be met. Right. That's why I say that line is fluid.
New question. Because I agree with you 100% on that. And there are days, like, I think there's days where one person can only give 80%, but I think communication is important. As long as you tell that person, hey, listen, I am not rocking today. Your 100 may have to pick up for my, you know what I'm saying, my 80%, and that's still fine. I agree with that wholeheartedly. So the dude that was arguing with you, that's tough. Let him go. But here's a question. Here's the thing. This. I know this gonna start some uproar in the comments, but I'm gonna just say this. If you're in a relationship and you go to work with a man that you decided to marry, right? If he says, "Hey, when you come home, can you give me your entire check so that I can put it towards what we need?" Would you do that?
If I'm in am I
You're
married? You
married.
said I'm married? Yeah.
Okay. What if you've
I don't
engaged?
Here's the thing. If I ever get to that point with somebody, I
Mhm.
know that you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like I know you and you know me.
This is
And
hard.
I
It's hard, bro, because you're so self-aware. I can't really get you caught up. But anyway, continue. Answer the
but
question. Answer the question.
so yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, if there's so much more to this question, like there's so
Mhm.
much background in this relationship. You're culminating your whole relationship into this one question. At the end of the day, for me, it's always gonna be yes.
What about your
Lashe,
fiance?
if I got to the point where he proposed and I said yes, we know what it is with us. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I'm saying though. Like it's funny that you say self-aware because I had to do so much work after that relationship. So I'm at a point where I know like I and I'm continuously doing the work, right? We kind of touched on this on the last live that we did, right? And it's how
Mhm.
people don't really know how to date properly.
Mm.
There's certain and this also ropes in with the COVID thing, like people coming out of it like realizing that they're in relationships with people they don't really get along with. It's because when you're in the dating phase, a lot of people don't date correctly. And it's not to say there's a right and a wrong way to date. However, I believe that
There's
there
a more
are certain
successful way, and then there's a more failing way. Agreed.
there's certain, you know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that like it makes your life easier in the long run, right? If I'm dating you, we've been on a couple of dates, we're getting to know each other. Like I think a lot of people, especially in the younger generation, are like, oh, we're dating. That means we're together, we're exclusive, we're in a relationship. No. Dating is
Communication.
getting to know somebody, right? Dating is we're going on dates. And a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not dating that person. Like we just hang out here and there. It's like, you're dating, you're going on dates. You're going out with this person. You're spending time getting to know this person. Whether it's watching a movie and you have little conversations here or there, whatever it may be, right? So I think in terms of me, like if I'm engaged to somebody, I've already gotten to that point. I know how he lives. I know how he monitors himself and me enough to know that like yes, I can coexist with this person in the same household under the same roof. Yes, we have the same morals. Yes, we live the same. Yes, we both have our priorities are in check. You know what I'm saying? Like if I've
Yeah.
gotten to that point. Now if you were to say like I'm dating somebody, would I do this? No.
Absolutely. Right.
And
Right.
that's strictly based on my previous experience.
Mhm.
That's strictly
Yeah.
based on it because I did that before and look how
Yeah.
it turned out for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
think. I think. I think that the important, that's why I specifically phrased it that way, because I talked about marriage or engaged, because I think if you're dating someone, I can understand how it's harder to make that type of commitment. But I feel like once you're engaged to somebody, you're basically saying that you're preparing for a future with that one. And I feel like you should not be engaged to someone that you're willing to say yes to something extreme like that. I think that if you haven't done your research enough, then you shouldn't be engaged with a person like that, because I do think that if that's your dude, right, or if that's the person that you've chosen to be with, and it doesn't even have to be heterosexual, right, even guy on guy, girl on girl, if that's the person that you've chosen to be with, then you should be able to say, hey, like, okay, I trust your decision making, right? And because I trust that we are going to be able to do this. And if you can't, then I think you should rethink whether or not that's a person that you need to be with, because you're obviously there's something there that you're saying, I do not, if I don't trust you with finances, why are we putting our finances together? Because that's what marriage is. Your credit score becomes my credit score. Your debt becomes my debt. Like we don't, you know what I'm
It's
saying?
on
Like
paper.
it's on paper.
It's
So
on
if
paper.
I'm unwilling to trust you in that sense with something like, hey, I just got paid for the month. Here's the money, right? Like, now I'm not saying it should just be like, do whatever and don't tell me where it's going. But
Yeah.
I am saying, like, it should be like, hey, I trust that you're going to do what needs to be done, and also that you're going to communicate with me at some point to make sure that we are on a plan, or maybe even that you've developed a plan that we've already talked about already, and then now you're just kind of putting it into play. I just always, encourage people to check themselves, right? Like, if you're not ready to invest in this relationship 100%, then you should rethink whether or not this is the person for you. And if typically, I think that if you really spend a lot of the quality time with each other and ask the right question, like, I ask tough questions first date.
Yeah.
First date, I'm talking about, hey, listen, I will ask you, what?
I laugh because this is a conversation I also recently had with my girls, and it was in a joking manner, but it was serious because it's like dating. It was like dating in 2024. Like, have you been to therapy?
I ask tough questions because I'm not asking the credit score is tough on the first date. That's tough. I'm not gonna lie. That's a little bit out there, but I will ask things, that, for example,
what have you asked?
For example, I tell any girl that I'm on a date with, I say, tell me 2 things that you did in your previous relationship where you were wrong. And it cannot be from a victim mentality. That means you cannot say, I should have listened to my friends. You cannot say, I should have known that he was this. You have to tell me 2 things that if I called him up, he would be able to say, these are the 2 things she did wrong. So you're the aggressor. Like, maybe you don't listen well. Like, oh, you know what? I never listened to him when he told me he was hurting, or I never gave him the attention that he needed. I prioritized my friends more than him. Those are things where you were the aggressor. If a person cannot tell me 2 things that they did wrong in their previous relationship, that tells me that they are not self-aware and that they think that they're innocent. And I know for a fact that because there's times where I've been a great boyfriend. I know I've done the majority of things right, but I know I'm not perfect. And so in any relationship that I've ever been in, I can always go back and point to certain ways that I could have made that relationship better. And if this person that I'm talking to can't do that now at this age, I'm sorry. I don't have the time to help build you in that sense. I need you to already be ready and self-aware so that we can move forward and develop each other or develop our relationship. But I don't have the time to be Mr. Doctor and to tell, hey, you telling me you did nothing wrong? There's nothing that you can think of ever in the entire, and there are people who are like, no, I didn't. I was like, all right, cool. God bless you, sweetheart. Check, please. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm out.
Look,
I'm cool.
I say this all the time now, especially given like with my close circle who knows exactly how my ex was or like how that relationship went, right? I say this all the time. I'm not here to build a bitch. I did that already. Did that already. I'm not willing to. And that's why I think I'm in a different place than a lot of people are. Like, there are women out there who are willing to go through the tough times with you and be, you know what I'm saying, like down and dirty, ride or die. Don't get me wrong. I'm ride or die. You notice from personal experience, just on a platonic level,
That's a fact.
On platonic level, on romantic level.
The fact that you're here right now being sick, ride or die.
But so that's not to say that I'm not a ride or die, but I'm at a time in my life, I'm at a place in my life where, you know what I'm saying, I have my career starting. Like, you know what I'm saying, I'm building this, I'm building that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm not here to build a bitch right now. Like, if you are not able to meet me where I am at or propel me forward, I'm not the woman for you right now. And you're not the man for me. It's all love. You feel me? Like, we can, on a platonic level, if you're like, listen, like, I know, but like, can we have a conversation about, what do you think, like, I need to do? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can I, whatever it may be, which I've had friends come in and have conversations with me like this, right?
I shut it down. I don't want to be friends. If we ain't, once I realize we're not meant to be together, I don't want to be friends. I'm cool. Don't get me. If I see you past it don't mean it's funk. Like, I can see you and be like, hey, what's up? But after that, like, it's either we're friends. I'm sorry. It's either we're dating, we messing around, or I'm cool. Like, I don't need no new friends. I got plenty of friends. I'm too old.
I'm screaming. Let me say this. I think I use the term friends a little loosely.
I know, that's why I said it.
Yeah, so
Well, I know you, so I know what you mean, but
acquaintances, right? So anyways,
right.
I think going back to that conversation that somebody had commented that God, men and women can't be friends. I wholeheartedly, just like I cannot say this with my whole heart enough. Like I cannot emphasize this hard enough. I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement. Wholeheartedly. And let me tell you why real quick. Because at the end of the day, right? If I'm if I'm on a date with a guy who cannot hold a platonic relationship with women, you're not the man for me.
Right.
You can't be my best friend and my man because you don't even know how to be a friend to women. So how you're gonna be my best friend and treat me like your homies? Nah. Like it's different. It's just a level of difference, right? And like some women want that. Like, oh yeah, I want my man to treat me like his homies and his great. Go find him. Because that's not me. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, like it again, women and men bring different things to the table. Right. Completely. Right? There's overlap. But there are some things that women bring and there are some things that men bring that no matter how you grow up, what environment you're in, how your brain is formed, it's never going to be the same. And that's biologically speaking, right? So I think that like, and I have had this conversation with guy friends because I know guys that cannot hold platonic relationships with women. And let me tell you, their love life, not going great.
Yeah.
Not going great. And it's because like you don't have that female perspective. You don't have a women's outlook on things, which like my guy friends who constantly have like deeper level thinking conversations with me. It doesn't even have to be about relationships, right? It could be about like MLK Center, back when I was on campus last semester and the semester before, it was multiple times on multiple different occasions where it was, you know, a group of us sitting in a circle in whatever, you know, the study room or the relax room, just kicking it, talking, and it develops like more people come and they join the conversation, more people come and join the conversation, and everybody brings something different. And now this conversation has developed into, we had a conversation at the MLK room about non-Black people speaking on Black American issues, specifically Black American issues. That's a deep ass conversation. Me, as someone who is not Black, I, you know, am in this conversation too. And it's like, you're getting all these different perspectives, right? I am an Asian American woman. I'm first generation. I was born here, but my parents, you know what I'm saying? Straight from the motherland. Yeah. So I have a completely different viewpoint on this than like a third or fourth generation Asian American. Right. I have a completely different viewpoint on this than an immigrant. So in the same breath, the male counterparts are going to have a different view than me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think personally, like that, it's all kind of combined. And at the end of the day, like if you can't be a fully well-rounded person if you're not able to cultivate platonic conversations and relationships with women. I'm not saying you have to have a girl best friend or a guy best friend, right? I'm not saying you have to go like to the ends of the earth to have this, but to be able to hold a platonic relationship with men and women, like with the opposite gender, I think that is a crucial part to being a well-rounded human, to being a self-aware, like well-rounded brain. Gotcha. And no so doubt. I'm like, I'm so passionate about this topic because it's like at the end of the day, I've had people bring up all different types of, you know what I'm saying, like viewpoints on it. My answer has not changed. Like, I firmly believe in this. And it's like, there's different avenues, right? Like, oh, well, you know, when you're dating somebody, like you have all these guy friends around, whatever, like nobody's going to want to date you. Cool. That person's not for me because they're clearly not self-aware enough, right? Or they clearly haven't done the work, or they clearly are lacking in some part that's not compatible with me and where I'm at. No doubt. At the end of the day, I have relationships with who I have relationships with. I have guy friends who were sitting next to me when I was rock bottom, like suicidal. Mm-hmm. My girlfriends wouldn't even pick up the phone that night. Type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like people bring, like genders bring a different viewpoint, a different outlook, a different approach to things. And
Straight up.
that's like period point blank. I can't like
I get you.
anytime
I get
somebody
you. I get you. I
anytime
get you. I
somebody
get you.
tries to
I get
bring that
you.
conversation up, I think there's
Yeah.
always a different kind of like there's always a different viewpoint on it. And at the end of the day, it's like, again, like what works for you works for you. If you're somebody who, you know, you can't like you don't think that men and women can be just friends, then find a partner who believes that too.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, let me go get back to these comments real quick and then we're gonna wrap it up. Let me see. I missed a lot. Okay.
Oh
Here we
God.
go. Here we go. Somebody said married or not, you should wait, not married or not, you shouldn't you oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Jesus Christ. Not married or not, you shouldn't and trust your partner, or is that a lack of trust? Just playing devil's advocate. Can you date more than one person at a time based on the context of you guys are just getting to know each other? Then it says it depends on the person. I wasn't always taught to date multiple people at once, but that's not who I am. That it looks like somebody wrote a 100 emoji. They said, well, that's because you are a real man. Got to be transparent, ask the tough questions. What if she didn't do anything wrong? Nothing. She's where she at. But that's assuming she did something. Somebody wrote another 100 emoji. Somebody said, whew, okay. What if she really didn't do anything? No, hold on. Okay, let me just say this. Okay, again, it is impossible to be in a relationship with someone over time and not do anything wrong. That's just a lack of self-awareness. Okay.
Yep.
It is literally impossible to be in a relationship with someone over the span of months and not do a single thing wrong. Period. That's just what it is. Now, again, I'm not saying I don't say, hey, tell me two things you did wrong in the last person you were talking to. I said your last relationship, right? Which means it was over time. Nobody is perfect. Every single person should be able to go back and say, these are some things that I could have improved on, or that I could have done better, or that I did wrong in my previous relationship. And again, if they can't, that is a lack of self-awareness. And I'm just not, if I was 22, okay, I got time to help somebody develop that self-awareness. I'm not 22. I don't have that time to be sitting around and going, because self-awareness is here. I'm up here. I'm trying to get, you know what I mean? I just don't have the time for that. So that's why I say that. Okay, the next question. So if she says she do something wrong, she's legit. But if she didn't do anything, she must be deceitful. It's not deceitful. It's just a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Exactly. We ain't friends, dating or bust, period. Men and women mostly can't be friends. I think one of the two will end up liking each other at some point, even if they don't act on it. Somebody said, right. I feel a gender should only have a friend of opposite sex through proof of a tough time, not just we knew each other since high school. Can female perspective can come from sisters? Good night, everyone. How passionate, like putting the P in passionate. Okay. I think this was definitely interesting, and we only touched on like one of the topics or the situation. So we got to come back, and we're at an hour and a half. This is by far the longest I think episode, because we just kept going, and it was some good stuff. So we will definitely do a part 2. We have to.
I feel like every time we get into conversations like this, like specifically when it's like you and I are talking about it, because we both have such like developed self-awareness.
Yeah.
It always becomes controversial.
I know, but it's because I be trying to find things that like I feel like that are tough questions for the average person, and then it's hard because like I said, I know that you're self-aware. I know how you think. I know the way that you are, so it's very challenging. But I still like to ask them because I know people in the comments, they be going crazy for it. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So we will do part 2 for sure.
No, yeah. I think I will say that I do like I will always enjoy a genuine, deeper level of thinking conversation. And I think like especially sometimes it just takes that like it takes a a conversation for someone to kind of like just put that seed in their mind of like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, I think controversial topics are meant to be they're controversial for a reason. Like they should be talked about and discussed. And everybody's opinion, like everybody has their own opinion, and yeah, I love hearing like people's reasoning for, you know, their opinion behind things. So love
No
having these
doubt.
conversations with you, family.
No doubt. Okay,
And
last question. Last question. You know it. If there was some wise words or some words of advice or words of encouragement, as you know, we've been doing Wise Word Wednesday for since 2017. So we are on year 7 of Wise Word Wednesdays. And so we've been providing people with information every single week, just giving some good content to hopefully help them throughout their week. If there was some wise words that you could leave the audience with about anything in life, what would those words be?
that's so funny because I knew this was coming. And I kind of thought of this word before we even did this episode. And then as we did the episode, you said it, and it's self-awareness. And I think that's a
Mm,
all-encompassing word because, you know, when you hear self-awareness, when you think about self-awareness, it's not only getting to know yourself, but like when you learn about yourself, you're learning about other people. When you learn why you think or why you do what you do, you're also inherently learning about those people that you love that are around you, right? So that comes with healing, that comes with learning, that comes with growth. Like self-awareness is just such a all-encompassing, I feel like, word and phrase and topic. Um, and it really brings together this episode, I feel like.
I love that. I love that. And I appreciate you. I'm not gonna lie. I've been entertaining the idea of having a co-host. I'm not gonna lie, we got some good chemistry. I might have to start having you on a lot more just to have some conversations. Cause yeah, it's been really good. But I also know, you know, people's schedules be busy and stuff. So I don't want to put no commitment on you, but I'm just saying I think the people would enjoy it. But anyway,
Always
I appreciate you you know, for being on here tonight, especially pushing through, powering through, you know what I'm saying, being sick and whatnot. We both of us ain't feeling good. I made some soup. If you live next to me, I would bring you some soup. You know, I mean, this bad,
man.
but I do got some, and you know what I mean. If you, yeah, I might maybe I'll bring you
Everybody
some
slide to
tomorrow.
Josiah's house after
Don't even do that. We're not gonna do that.
bring your mask.
I'm not even gonna open the door. I'm gonna be like, I don't know who these people are. I'm gonna be like, what's that, Kiki Palmer? I don't know who this man is. I don't know who these people are. but it's been a blessing, man. I appreciate every single person who was in the comment section, in the chats. I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. If you want to be on the show, definitely hit me up in the DMs. Let me know. We can figure out a topic you want to talk about. Of course, I know relationships are always a hot topic, but we could talk about a bunch of different things. So we could do whatever you want. I'm willing to take it there as long as you got a good, you know what I'm saying, a good thought process, as long as you can articulate yourself, and as long as you know what I'm saying, keep it respectful. I'm definitely happy to have you on. But FYB presents Wise Word Wednesdays. I appreciate you, Brooke. You a real one. I'm gonna leave y'all with a We Fresh, and I love you. Y'all be smooth.